This is Robert Kraft, and I'm coming to you live on SNNLive, and we're at the LD Micro Invitational 2018 in Bel Air, California. With me right now is Kent Wilson from Alpine 4 Technologies. It's a publicly traded company. The symbol is ALPP on the OTCQB. Kent, welcome to SNNLive.
Thanks a lot, Robert.
It's great to have you on. So, for our audience, let's start with an overview of the company and go from there.
Sure. Alpine 4 is a fast-growing, technology-driven holding company. We are acquiring businesses in one of three categories. You're either a driver, a stabilizer, or a facilitator. And that is a unique business model that we have.
All right, so before I get into the history, let's dive a little bit deeper. So what do you mean by that?
Well, a driver is a company that is a real basic example is we have a company called Altea, which is a connected car company. It's high growth potential, fairly sexy for Wall Street, relatively disruptive technology, operates in a $9 billion market, and we think that subsidiary will grab 1 to 2% of the market over the next 36 to 48 months. And so that's a driver company.
Gotcha.
A stabilizer company is really your quintessential, company with sticky customer base, consistent revenues, fairly stable in nature, and there's a lot of those out there. But the secret sauce for us is the facilitator model, and that is a company that is like our synergistic glue that binds everything together. And that is a good example. Our connected car company, Altea, they manufacture a product. Right now, we send it to Shenzhen, bring it back. Takes about 12 months to do the design, engineering, and bringing it back and forth. But we acquired a company called Quality Circuit Assembly. Now, they manufacture circuit boards and hardware components. That company is a facilitator, and we've transferred that IP and that manufacturing process to them. Okay, and that company has gotten that process down to about 90 days. And so in that 90 days, we've been able to shrink our go-to-market with any changes, and they're helping us facilitate, a faster time to market, which is driving more sales and more profit. And one more component of that is the facilitator really is that vertical integration without vertically integrating, if that makes sense. And we do it with the slack of capacity at a company.
So you're a diversified holding company, more or less.
Yeah.
And so what's some of your criteria then for adding a new company to that portfolio?
We really look at we're really big on strategy, and so when we look at a company, it has to fit in one of those three categories: a driver, stabilizer, facilitator. We're fairly industry agnostic when we look at a company. We tend to shy away from construction and retail. Our model fits very, very well. If you're a B2B manufacturing technology software. And so when we're looking at a company, it's got to fit in one of those three categories, be in an industry that we like, and either something that we can innovate into, a product line or a service that they provide, or it is an enhancement to something we already own.
Okay, so what makes you unique in the marketplace when you compare yourself with other diversified holding companies and their models?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And it really is our driver, stabilizer, facilitator business model. If you look at some of the other companies out there like Cody, Compass Diversified Holdings, Ottertail, one trades on the NASDAQ, one on the New York Stock Exchange, they're really only buying stabilizers. Sticky customer base, decent revenue, decent EBITDA to it, but they're really not looking how to bind those with, say, a driver company that has potential for large return and high volume, or a facilitator that can help integrate and leverage opportunities into another company. And so our business model gives you really a best of breed, if you will. If you're looking at a driver company has the potential for large multiple returns, stabilizer, nice and steady, consistent returns. Facilitator is really is innovation at its best, because you're really innovating things and resources and products and services across your holdings. I don't know of any company out there like it. I mean, we truly are a unique company.
So tell me some history about the company. When did it start, and how did you develop to where you're currently at today? And maybe include your background in there as well.
Sure. I became on CEO 4 years ago last Friday. Set out with the board. It started off as an automotive company. With a company called Autotech that no longer exists, but we acquired their assets. We acquired some software. But I set out to the board. I said, listen, I don't want to just be an automotive tech company. Let's drive this. And I pitched the DSF model, and the board signed off on it. And that's kind of how we got started. We've acquired 4 businesses in the last 2 years, and we're growing rapidly. We have 2 that are currently under LOI and doing our due diligence on. I think from a revenue size, we're currently trending about 20 million in revenue for as of Q2, and by end of Q4 2018, we'll be trending 41 to 45 million. So pretty rapid growth.
Right. So where did you develop this DSF model? Did this come from what you were doing prior to coming to Alpine 4, or where did it come from?
Well, I was a turnaround consultant for many years, from 2002 to 2010. Have been in 60 to 65 businesses. So that many type of businesses, you really see what works and what doesn't work, right? And so I kind of came up with the concept. But the best way to say it is, I knew in my head what works and how to leverage things between companies. I didn't know really how to articulate it till right before I took this job. And that's where I came up with the DSF model: driver, stabilizer, facilitator. But prior to that, being a turnaround consultant from 2002 to 2010, then I became CFO of a petroleum company, helped grow them pretty rapidly. And then my wife and I had our beautiful twins in 2013 and decided to take some time off. And then after about a year, my wife said, "You got to go back to work." And it was great to really experience that. We were in a position financially where we could do that. It was nice. But then I was ready to come back and take this challenge on. And we're just, Alpine is a company that is executing. There's a lot of companies out there that want to say they're doing something, but we're doing it. And we're walking our talk.
So you touched on my next question a little bit already, but maybe we could come full circle with it. And that's in terms of growth drivers. So from what you can tell me, what are some of those going forward?
Well, we're growing organically at a rate of about 30%, which quarter over quarter is pretty dramatic. Now that will tail off probably by the 3rd or 4th quarter this year, meaning that we'll hit a plateau and then we got to do some reinvestment. And these are existing subsidiaries. But when you add the new subsidiaries in there that we're currently either reviewing or in due diligence or in an LOI with, that's the other part of the growth factor, which is organic and then external.
So Ken, what would you say is the company's competitive advantage?
Well, when you look at the market space out there, and we talked a little bit about Cody, but the obvious conglomerate that everybody knows of is Berkshire Hathaway. Warren Buffett's model works well for him, but he's really a passive investor. We are legacy buyers, if you will. So when we're buying a subsidiary or buying a company, we are not only looking at its merits of what it is, but what it could be under the Alpine 4 structure. So a good example of that, every business that we buy is either being optimized, it resides in an optimization phase, or it is in an asset producing phase. Buffett typically is only managing the asset producing. And that's not that he's buying pretty solid companies, but when we look at the landscape, we're looking at the opportunities that are there, and we want them to fit in the Alpine 4 model. So we're very hands-on, if that makes sense. An optimization phase, we're going through strategy development, profit and expense control, strategic development, pretty much MBA level stuff, and we're rooting people up. In fact, we just finished our first A4 mini MBA, which we did a month ago. And that was in Oklahoma City, and we had all 4 of our subsidiaries there, rooting up management, building them up. Even though they have their own identities as a subsidiary, they firmly believe they're an Alpine 4 company and what they can expect from us and what we can expect from them. And we're giving them the tools to succeed. And that's what's different. We want to be relevant not only to our shareholders, but to our employees. We want to be relevant socially, and then we want to be relevant to society. And so when we look at that relevance, we're doing it right now with our employees and other places.
So where can our audience go and find more information about Alpine 4?
You can go to our website at alpine4.com. That's alpine4.com. Best place to get it.
My name is Robert Kraft, and I'm coming to you live on SNNLive, and we're at the LD Micro Invitational 2018 in Bel Air, California. With me again is Kent Wilson from Alpine 4 Technologies, publicly traded company. The symbol is ALPP on the OTCQB. Kent, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks a lot.